So Black Ops 4 and Treyarch have had some time to straighten out the shit show that was the first 3 weeks of their newest game.
Kill me.
Surprisingly, they've fixed most of the game-breaking issues. The crashing, freezing, glitches, visual bugs. In all honesty, I'm kind of shocked that almost everything I talked about in my previous Black Ops 4 video is no longer an issue for me. It all seems perfect now, doesn't it? Oh yeah, and they introduced microtransactions alongside that as well. Activision, Treyarch, if only you guys could just keep the taste of shit out of my mouth for just a few days. I'd really like that. Side note, unfortunately, on PC, ActBro has been crashing just about every single time he starts the game up. It's almost impossible for him to play 2 to 3 matches of anything before the game freezes, so it looks like on PC, Black Ops 4 is still a pile of shit. But you know, let us just take a moment to look back and appreciate the journey that has been the release of Black Ops 4.
But for us to even consider this kind of experience, it had to be unique and done in a way only Black Ops could do. A survival game with the best, most refined mechanics in the world.
At this point though, it kind of seems like every time we hear something new about Call of Duty and Black Ops 4, it fucking sucks. It's negative. You know, at the end of the day, nothing has changed with the Black Ops 4 pass. Activision will always fuck these games up and these developers to some degree with their malignant anti-consumer practices, so that's gonna take away from the experience too. Of course there's gonna be loot boxes and there's probably gonna be weapons added into them, and the monetization schemes just won't end. And for perspective, you all know me, I don't play or care about Battle Royale games. I've had no desire to do so. So when I say I'm excited to play Blackout when Black Ops 4 comes out, it makes you wonder, don't it? Because the current state the game is in right now, it's fucking abysmal. Such a roller coaster of emotions. We've been through so much together, so much speculation, so many videos. For those of you keeping count, the last time I made this many videos on a single game was Halo 5. So I guess there's been a lot to talk about with it. But it's finally time for me to give my honest thoughts and opinions on Black Ops 4 as a whole. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty. So let's not waste any more time and jump straight into this. Now, just a heads up, I've talked about Modern Warfare 2 in great detail on my other Call of Duty videos and reviews. So much so that you could probably just take all those sound bites of me talking about it and it could be its own review. Let me just take you back to a little diamond in the rough called Modern Warfare 2. After going back and replaying Modern Warfare 2, now I'm gonna be comparing this game to Modern Warfare 2. Whereas in Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 2's Modern Warfare 2.
Shut the fuck up!
Just want you guys to be prepared for me to stroke that game's nuts in this video as well. So how did the multiplayer turn out? Well, on the positive side, Black Ops 4 has some of the best gunplay the series has had, and it might be my favorite out of all the Call of Duty games. And I'm dead serious, man. Controls are tight, all the weapons feel good, they're balanced relatively speaking, they have their own unique roles so they all feel different. The big problem though is the tick rate downgrade from 60 Hz to 20. And I feel like if this game was at 60, like it was for the beta, the gunplay would be just about perfect. Balance-wise, Call of Duty always has and always will have overpowered shit in it, which I'm fine with to a certain degree. And I'm not talking about specialist abilities or the 9-bang or any of that shit. The thing that bugs me most about this game is the ICR. I mean, this has got to be the most frustrating weapon to go up against in Call of Duty. With double grip attachments, the gun essentially becomes a laser beam with absolutely zero recoil, even with a scope attached, and scopes are supposed to add recoil to compensate for the better range. Ironically enough, and we'll talk about map design later, but the ICR completely outclasses all the snipers in the traditional sniping role. When it comes to weapon choice, I believe that each gun should perform differently and excel in certain ways and scenarios. For example, the VKM is a slow-firing, high-damage LMG, similar to the M60 in Black Ops 1. The Spitfire is a close-quarters beast, just like the Vector in Modern Warfare 2. And guns like the GKS fulfill the hybrid role of being as accurate as an assault rifle with the handling of an SMG, kinda like the UMP-45. Personal preference needs to be a factor, and the guns should all be viable so players don't feel forced into picking a weapon they don't like just to compete. I'm looking at you, MP40. But when you have this assault rifle that can effectively snipe enemies at the same range with better consistency, less reliance on aiming, and virtually no recoil to worry about, why would you pick a sniper at all? You wouldn't. And that's a huge fucking problem. It's quick scoping or nothing. Another issue I have with choosing a weapon is that you have no choice if you want a rocket launcher. I mean, what happened here? There's only one? Let's take a look back at Modern Warfare 2 again. Sure, explosive damage was a huge problem with danger close and one-man army, no doubt about that, but look at the options we had. There was the ATS, which worked against infantry and light aircraft. We had the Thumper, a standard grenade launcher. The Stinger, which was purely anti-air and anti-kill streak. The Javelin was like a wild card, area denial, somewhat risky and hard to hit your targets, but does lethal damage in a huge radius. Then the RPG was like a less accurate but more lethal version of the ATS used only against infantry. You see how much more interesting these launchers are because of their defined roles in the overall sandbox and the choice you are now giving the player as to what to specialize in, as opposed to a single launcher that does a little bit of everything? Speaking of which, there are no grenade launcher attachments in this game. It's befuddling, honestly. Another gripe I have is secondaries are supremely disappointing because, again, of how few options there are. I really think they should have made secondaries not cost a point for the pick 10 system because then they can make more because they know people will use them and they won't be punished for taking one. That's just my opinion though. Back to the positives, the class customization is fucking fantastic. Perks are kinda weak though, almost unnecessary if I'm being completely honest. For better or worse, you don't really need them, but, you know, they add a little bit of versatility to your kit. It's also a weird decision to make choosing non-specialist equipment cost a point when in every scenario the equipment is worse than what each specialist brings to the table already. I do think they should have put something on the D-pad where you could use a frag or a tactical or, you know, something like that. I don't see what the big deal would have been. But like, remember in Black Ops 1 and so many of the other Call of Duty games, there were weapons that had butt-fucking useless attachments. Holographic sight on the AA-12. Or you had a weapon like the Olympia in Black Ops 1 with no attachments. And that used to bug the living shit out of me, because why would I take this gun when it can't be improved at all? If I can't unlock anything to make it better. That's part of the progression system, and that's what makes Call of Duty addicting and satisfying. In previous games, many of the attachments would overlap between weapons, and, you know, they just wouldn't be as useful on one weapon as they were the other. But Treyarch did something special with Black Ops 4. They gave every weapon its own unique set of attachments to further define its role in the sandbox. For instance, the Vapor has 2 stocks, the ICR has 2 grips, and the Hades has double laser sights. As far as I know, no other gun has the same selection of attachments. It's also a great thing that I haven't even brought up advanced movement or anything, because the multiplayer is fun, and it doesn't need that shit. And it's like, isn't this some big revelation where it's like, hey, what if we just don't do advanced movement? Is the fucking world gonna explode? No, it's still fun. Well, would you look at that?
We've lost the hard point.
Not to spot, are you, Flood?
Hard point locked.
I mean, they really went all out with the class customization. Best part of it is the introduction of operator mods, which are basically super attachments that you unlock by maxing out the level of the weapons, and it takes a whopping 3 slots of the pick 10. Some of them are more useful than others. You know, it could be something like replacing ADS with an accurate and fast hipfire mode on the Hades, or explosive rounds on the VKM, or increased accuracy and burst fire range on the GKS. All super cool stuff. And my only complaint is not every weapon has an operator mod. Leveling up feels better than ever, and you get a huge amount of satisfaction. You get that payoff after investing time into a single weapon to unlock those operator mods or to get the setup you want with each weapon. That's what I really love about Call of Duties. It's pretty crazy to think that this many games in and this many years that they can continue to innovate and surprise players with the class customization, despite the fact that it's essentially the same system since Black Ops 2. Kill streaks are pretty fun to use, for the most part. They're not the most standout of the series. I'd probably give that to Modern Warfare 2. But you know, the Hellstorm missile is overpowered as fuck, and it's super easy to get a quad feed with it.
We've lost the hard point.
Kill-tacular.
The attack chopper is absolutely ridiculous, but they recently nerfed the points required to get it, so that's alright. Strike teams just absolutely dominate. And the gunship is basically an AC-130, which is so fucking... oh god, I just get destroyed by it whenever I see one. I enjoy the kill streaks. They're not my favorite in the series, but they are serviceable and don't feel lacking. So now it's time to talk about map design, and how sniping is fucked in this game. Even though the attachments and weapons and class customization is all hella fun to use and explore, let me just put this in bold text on the screen. The maps don't service the gunplay at all. There are just a handful of maps where sniping is viable, and even fewer locations within those maps where it is advantageous. And even then, shit like the ICR can cover those distances no problem. Once again, go back to Modern Warfare 2. Shit, even World at War, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, there were always a few maps with really long sight lines. Because you need that. If you're gonna put snipers in your game, they need to be viable. It can't just be everything is a fucking quickscope beast. So there needs to be maps with long sight lines, with open areas, with power positions, and Black Ops 4 barely has any of that. And so if you look back to Modern Warfare 2, even the most accurate assault rifle with an ACOG scope, the ACR, was still at a disadvantage when going up against a sniper at long range. Of course, Sleight of Hand Pro also helped, but you know, there are no sniper perks in this game. Aside from that, it's your typical small 3-lane maps with little to no verticality and a streamlined, basic as fuck design that's so boring. It's almost monotonous. There is not a single large map in this game, which is probably why they cut the Ground War playlist out. They don't got Demolition or Capture the Flag anymore, and you just have to wonder why? You probably also noticed every mode except Kill Confirmed and Team Deathmatch is 5v5 instead of the standard 6v6. Let that put into perspective how small and simple the maps are. Now they do have a bunch of rotating playlists with double XP and, you know, Chaos Hardpoint or Marathon Domination, all cool shit like that week by week, so there's going to be a different spin on things every single time you jump onto the game, which is cool. You know, something fresh and temporary. I respect that. For a long time, I've been thinking how to best describe the modern day Call of Duty map design and how it's inferior to previous games. And after Modern Warfare 2 became backwards compatible on Xbox One, having played a shit ton of that before this game came out, I finally realized what the issue is. Better yet, I can show it to you. The secret lies in the map Quarry. Yeah, great map, very iconic and recognizable, plenty of lanes to go down, almost like it's a 5-lane map, with buildings in the middle and on the outskirts. You got some verticality here and there. There's long sight lines, short sight lines, power positions, close quarters combat. Everything is viable in this map. It services all modes and weapons. But the most notable aspect of Quarry are these white boxes scattered all around, which create a very unique map flow and allow players seemingly limitless routes to flank, move around, or even camp. So here's what's happened. The modern day Call of Duty map design has essentially taken the map Quarry and removed all of those boxed areas that were normally accessible and replaced them with invisible walls to force you down these lanes. That's what it's become. But newer Call of Duties don't just strip away maneuverability, routes, and interesting mechanics in their maps. They don't just cut each map down to 3 lanes, they have to remove any and all semblance of verticality or power positions. Black Ops 4 suffers many of the same problems COD World War II does. I urge you to look at any COD game and look for areas that have a big height difference. Take High Rise, for example. There's this bottom pit area, but players can also go on top of the buildings. Look at how big that height difference is from the bottommost point to the highest point, and it adds a lot of versatility to the map because the choices players make and how they move and where they go is now much more important. It's like, or look at Castle from World at War. You got that big ass tower and then a huge sweeping sight line. You know what's funny is the perk Lightweight in this game says you don't take fall damage, but I think there's only one location in the whole game where you can actually die from fall damage. And guess what? It's on Jungle, a map that wasn't even created for this game. It was taken from Black Ops 1. So there you go. I'd be surprised if you could find anything that's higher than 2 stories. And that's what it's like. That's what Black Ops 4's map selection feels like. The same shit copy and pasted, just slightly different. The game has one, maybe two medium-sized maps, Jungle and Summit. Everything else is small, by Call of Duty's own standards. And isn't it funny how Treyarch didn't create a single medium or large map for this game, and the only medium ones came from previous games? Matter of fact, the best maps in Black Ops 4 are the ones we already played before. I know I shit on map design and I talk about it a lot, but it is so important in just having fun with a game. They're so boring and uninspired, but it is a testament to how good the gunplay is that this is not a deal breaker for me. I might not particularly enjoy any map or have a single favorite one in here, besides jungle and firing range, but I can still play multiplayer and have a blast because the weapons customization, specialist abilities, and the pure gameplay aspects are just so enjoyable to me. But those fucking map designers, I swear to God, you guys gotta step up your game. It's also a telling sign that once I had all the footage I needed for my COD World War II video, I never touched the game again. But with Black Ops 4, most of the time I've spent playing it has been because I've been having fun. So take that for what it is. But just imagine, for a second, if you were to take Black Ops 4's core gameplay and replace the map selection with Black Ops 1, World at War, Modern Warfare 1 and 2, if you were to do that, you would have the best Call of Duty multiplayer of all time. And I'm being 100% serious. It's just a damn shame, but a man can dream. Now moving on, there is kind of a story in Black Ops 4. Of course, that huge fiasco about no campaign really made a lot of people not know how to think about this game. But within the Specialist HQ, there is some kind of story. But I don't feel any motivation to play and discover that story for this review. I'm sorry. It's pretty cool they brought back Woods, and in a lot of ways, Black Ops 4 does incredible fan service for the series.
Sergeant Frank Woods. You look like hammered shit.
It's all in your mind, Mason. In the real world, I'm pretty.
I'm glad to fucking see you again, my boy. You're a little bit more cocky than I remember. Almost a slight douche, but fuck it, dude, you're Woods. You're Frank Woods, man. Live it up.
Like the lady said, my name is Woods. Friend of the family. If you don't know who I am, tough shit. You will.
I mean, you can go to the Specialist HQ and learn what each one of them does, and then you can play against AI if you really want to, but it's not my fault this mode isn't captivating enough for me to want to sink more time into it. Though you may be able to learn some neat tricks for each specialist, like I didn't know you could cock the 9-bang with Ajax when you have your shield out. That was a neat little trick. I'd say check it out if you're bored and maybe want some achievements, or if you're hunting for some story.
Skill and knowledge are weapons. Master this shit, your odds go way up. Ajax.
But now let's talk about the black market and the microtransactions. Well, it's not only disgusting that the Black Ops 4 pass was a thing, where you just have to fucking bank on faith that they're gonna create something good with your $50, but it's also fucking gross that they just made a blatant ripoff of Fortnite's system. Except, instead of like Fortnite with all its cool cosmetics, I'll give you that, Epic Games, there's some really fucking cool cosmetics in Fortnite, but not in Black Ops 4. The cosmetics are pure garbage. I haven't seen any face paint that looks good. Some of the outfits are super flamboyant. Some are kinda cool, but realistically, I don't give a shit about any of the costumes, or these Overwatch sprays, or emotes, or anything. I just want Hudson. That's literally the only cool thing I see here. Maybe that last weapon skin, but eh. To be fair, if you like Call of Duty and you enjoy the multiplayer and Blackout, then you'll unlock all this stuff in time, if you even care about it. I mean, I'm already on like tier 50 or something, and it's a fun game that I like playing, so it doesn't appear to be such a serious grind. I could be wrong. For some players, I definitely understand the frustration, but because I don't care about the cosmetics in the first place, the grind doesn't bother me as much. Thank God it's not fucking loot boxes, though. I mean, they're still in here, but you can't explicitly buy the loot boxes. God, I'm so glad Battlefront 2 happened. Okay, hold up. I just hopped on Black Ops 4, and apparently all this stuff, including Hudson, is only available for a limited time. What the fuck, Treyarch? What the fuck, Activision? And now you're at the main menu begging me for money? Begging me to buy tiers? Go and suck Hulk Hogan's dick, you pieces of filth. I'm sorry, initially when I recorded this video, I didn't see what the problem with this system was until I hopped on after the fact to get one last bit of footage, and then I see this shit. I mean, I kind of expected them to pull some stunt like this, but why? And this is part of the reason why I can't say with full conviction that Black Ops 4 is awesome, because the companies responsible for this game are so greedy it just makes me feel like shit for giving them money. Anyways, let's move on. Now, you all know how I feel about the new style of zombies with their tedious fetch quests that force you to run all over the place, lack of areas to camp in, bullshit-ass gobblegums, big-ass maps that take 8 years to run around, and all that shitty shit they introduced to make the mode more complicated. But how is Black Ops 4 zombies, you ask? Oh, let me tell you, I fucking love it! I never thought I'd say that, honestly. I thought I was gonna hate this mode. But man, am I pleasantly surprised. Although that's mostly due to how fantastic the map 9 is. There's a lot of sweeping changes compared to the previous games. The biggest being that each player picks their perks before going into the game. And you can set up your custom classes, of course. But these 4 perks will always be in the same locations, but you can choose which ones will appear where, with the perk in your 4th slot being stronger than the others, giving it an added bonus. This is a neat idea and switches things up, so I'm totally game. Long gone are the days of getting 8 perks in Black Ops 3 with Perkaholic, that fucking bullshit. And there are a ton of perks to use and play around with, more so than any other zombies mode. With my personal favorite being Mule Kick and Stone Cold Stronghold. Yes, they made a perk for campers like me, and it makes this game so much better because of it. There's another thing. Because of course they bring back microtransactions for zombies too, not just multiplayer. But here's what I don't get. The elixirs and talismans that replace the gobblegums aren't even that good. In fact, I've never used them once. First, because it's a tedious grind to even get them, so when I do, I don't want to feel like I'm wasting them. And second, they just don't feel all that impactful. I mean, going from Black Ops 3 to this game, Black Ops 3 had some batshit crazy gobblegums, which had its pros and cons, but I don't know if they did this intentionally to make the game more balanced, less cheesy. I can't imagine they wouldn't put those in as an incentive to players to cough up some dough. There's also a graphic filter for zombies, except they call it cartoon mode. I guess let's check that out. Whoa. Whoa. Holy shit. Oh my god, this is a trip. Is this Borderlands right now? What the fuck am I looking at? I can't tell if this looks really, really bad or decent. But hey, cartoon mode. It's pretty funny. I think one of the best parts about zombies this time around is they actually have a fucking tutorial to show you what you're supposed to do. You don't gotta look it up online. It doesn't feel super complicated. I was able to figure it out, and it broke that barrier for me. Because for the longest time, I just wanted to play and shoot zombies and find a spot to camp in and move around and hit up Pack-a-Punch, you know? It teaches you the mechanics within the game, and this is why I love 9. Because there are so many things to do beyond killing zombies, but they're not such menial and annoying time-consuming tasks that I hate doing them every time I play. Opening Pack-a-Punch is simple. Activate the 4 gongs, kill the challengers, and then go to the bottom. The map layout is hard to learn at first, but it's actually really simple. You got 4 towers and a central area above and below. Of course, there are a ton of Easter eggs, and I don't really care to do them, but if I ever do or group up with people that want to, it'll be cool to go above and beyond what I'm already doing from match to match. 9 also has these challenges after you slice the banner.
The fire of Ra has been claimed!
That you can do to get power-ups and weapons in the center stage. There's like a crowd appeal mechanic where if you kill zombies and you revive your buddies without getting hit or taking damage or hitting the fire, the crowd will throw items at you. And it's like, that's not something you need to explain. It's just a simple, like, here you go, you know? The style of this map is so perfect, and the characters are lovable. They've got great dialogue, even if they talk a bit too much.
You bastards in the stalls! You think this is fun? Why don't you come down here and have a go, huh? Get your hands all covered in blood and dung!
Above all else, to me, I like zombies to have that style. Because COD World War II was so fucking boring, bland, and basic. But it's like Shaw, Diego, Bruno, and Scarlet. These characters scream iconic to me. and the locations they fight in and go to are just so epic. Yeah, and leave it to Treyarch to bring back the fucking great-ass announcing.
Double points!
Oh my god, I missed it so much. Getting a power-up and hearing nothing was so disappointing in COD World War II. What was I saying the challenges? Oh yeah, you got shit like get 5 consecutive headshots or 13 knife kills, slide under a blade trap without taking damage. With each challenge you complete giving you progressively better rewards. Some of them are really fucking annoying, like stop catalyst transformations which happen at complete random, or kill 5 zombie tigers, kill a blight father while being grappled by its tongue. A lot of these challenges are just purely based on luck, and sometimes you hit a wall on a single challenge for 15 rounds because the thing you need to do or the thing you need to kill to do the challenge just isn't showing up. I just went totally off script talking about the style of this zombies mode, and 9 in particular, but that's how cool it is to me. A gladiator arena, man. With fire trips and spike traps and gladiators and zombie tigers and all this shit, I love it so much. Personally, I don't find as much motivation to play Blood of the Dead or Voyage of Despair. Perhaps I just need to learn the maps, but Blood of the Dead is just so fucking big with the newer areas. And Below Deck on Voyage is a confusing nightmare that all looks the same. I can still have fun on these maps, but 9 is just my go-to. And I hate to admit it, please don't unsubscribe, smash that fucking like button, but I bought the Black Ops Pass so I could play Classified. I'm a sucker for this map, okay? It's my 3rd favorite behind Der Riesen Kino der Toten. Don't buy the Black Ops Pass. They shouldn't charge $50 for this map, and you shouldn't pay that. Wait until they sell it separately. But, you know, Classified is pretty goddamn fun, and if you really want it, then I can't stop you. But anyways, it is so fucking great to see this map remade with new graphics, new additions and areas to explore and fight in, the classic characters making a comeback. Matter of fact, the classic characters, Richtofen, Takio, Dempsey, and Nikolai, I feel like they're as fun, interesting, and comical as they've ever been.
Stab! 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 Actually, I think it was the second one that killed you. The third one was just for fun.
And this map, unlocking Pack-a-Punch, takes you back to the moon area, which probably gives the lore guys a bit of a hard-on. My only gripe is the Pentagon Thief isn't in this map, which is a real bummer because that guy was always hella fun to fight and chase around all over the place. But overall, Classified is some good shit. In fact, I want to play some right now. Beyond that, the customization here is not as overwhelming and complex as COD World War II. You unlock weapon camos and attachments by getting kills and headshots, and just like Black Ops 3, the camos you unlock in multiplayer can be used in zombies. And of course, the attachments carry over from multiplayer, so you know, interconnectivity. Maybe I was just jaded towards the zombies modes in COD World War II and Black Ops 3, but personally, I feel like there's something really special with Black Ops 4 Zombies. They went all out in giving players options to fiddle around with. These mutations, you can adjust the difficulty, change the settings, do all sorts of crazy stuff. Play the way you want. None of that create your own fun bullshit. How about play the way you want? Of course, you also got Rush Mode, which is really fucking fun too. Pitting players against each other to compete for points with limited lives, point multipliers, and all sorts of, you know, fun little gimmicks. It's fast-paced and an awesome welcome addition to zombies and the overall content of Black Ops 4. Personally, I don't change the settings or mess with the difficulty because I want to play the maps the way they are meant to be played, but for zombie fanatics, this has got to be a dream come true for you. Overall, the zombies mode surprises the balls out of me. What does that even mean? I've had so much fun with it, and even though I mostly play 9 and Classified when I have people, there's so much content within this mode that it adds immense replayability and perhaps endless hours of entertainment. Alongside the Easter eggs, this one will satisfy hardcore fans, and with a more simplistic overall design, it satisfies casuals like me too. My feelings on Blackout are mostly the same. It's the only Battle Royale mode I enjoy, and now that the atrocious lag problems and quads are gone, I've been having an absolute blast with it. I made a whole entire video on this mode and its beta, and since not much has changed, it's only gotten better, I'll just link that video in the description and pinned comment. Now, how does Black Ops 4 all come together? Every piece, every component. Well, in my eyes, This is the best Call of Duty overall since Black Ops 2. I wouldn't say it's better than Black Ops 2 because that campaign was so good.
No one likes the Russians, huh?
You know me. I don't like anyone.
But as I said in my review, Black Ops 2 was the last truly great Call of Duty, in my opinion. And Treyarch seems to have pulled out every trick in the book for this game, and it shows. New and old things have emerged and re-established themselves in the current generation of Call of Duty. The early release problems, though abysmal, annoying, and fucked up, are basically a thing of the past on Xbox, so now I can just play the game and not worry about it, just have fun. Multiplayer has the best gunplay in the series, and even though the maps don't service the gameplay, it's still incredibly fun to play, especially with the new operator mods, the kill streaks, and the customization. Specialist HQ is meh, kind of feels tacked on, but at least they tried to insert some kind of story in place of a single player campaign. You know, after the atrocity that was Black Ops 3, I can't put too much blame on Treyarch for this. Zombies is a fucking blast. 9 is so good I could almost exclusively play that one map. And this mode has so much versatility and options this time around, the tutorial does wonders for people like me who were hesitant to commit to playing the newer style of zombies. And Blackout is just the one and only Battle Royale for me, which says a lot when I tell you I don't enjoy Battle Royale games. Unfortunately, I don't think Black Ops 4 lives up to the legacy of previous installments. Despite the innovations to zombies, the introduction of a Battle Royale mode that feels better than anything else currently on the market, despite the incredible class customization, Black Ops 4 may have exceeded my low expectations, yet it still failed to reignite that Call of Duty addiction that resides deep within me. Maybe it's just nostalgia. Maybe it's something inherent that I can't help. More likely, it's the shitty map design. I can still have fun with it, of course, and it's a great game on its own terms. But with no campaign to get immersed in, no characters to care about, no story that captivates me and makes me want to finish it to the end, I'm left wanting more. No amount of content can make up for those great stories we experienced and loved in previous games. So at the end of the day, Black Ops 4 is more than I hoped it would be, and yet it still wasn't enough. And that is why Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is so awesome and bad.